Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. I hope that you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves, and blessings to all of you wonderful people out there. I think I have a nice video for you today. If you're a Queensryche fan, today I'm going to count down my favorite top 40 Queensryche songs of all time, so there are a lot to go through. That's right, 40 Queensryche songs ranked from 40 to number 1. Let's go ahead and get started. So coming in last is the song Damaged, and that is from the Promised Land album. I think this is a very good song. I think this is a very good album. Now, as far as Damaged is concerned, I love the bass here on the song. It's deep, it's thick. You'll hear me say this quite a bit today, especially considering a song or two on another album, and then lots to talk about with a particular album where the bass is just so rich, deep, thick, just heavy in its own right. Eddie Jackson is a marvel, wonderful bass player in his own right. Lyrics-wise, you have things that hark back to Rage for Order with Broken Part of My Machinery, and then Jeff sings Psychoanalyze the Chapters to My Darkest Days. So this is a really dark album. In many ways, it's almost a concept piece, because you have the Pink Floyd-like opening with, the baby being born, and then I Am I, and then, his life story about being damaged, and his poor relationship with his father, then the title track. But then it kind of gets away from that with Lady Jane and My Global Mind, perhaps, and it comes back to perhaps whoever the character is, personal issues. And so Damaged is just, I don't want to say it's heavy, in the sense it's a heavy metal track, but it's heavy in its delivery, it's heavy in its message, it's because it's dark and that kind of thing. It has moments of heavy musically, of course. In addition, if you know this song at all, at the 2-minute and 17 mark, you get Jeff belting Mother Mary in Control, Domineering Stranglehold. Perhaps a song about Nikki from Operation Mindcrime. Perhaps he doesn't say Sister Mary, he says Mother Mary, so perhaps not. The guitar is compelling and rich, and the end also compelling. The whole song is really, but something super or uber compelling about the end, where all the instruments come crashing to a halt. But before that, you see, or hear rather, Jeff say, all I see is damage, and then you get that breakdown of the instrumentation, and it's kind of like an abrupt and therefore kind of a heavy ending. Wonderful tune, 40, Damaged. Number 39, sticking with the same album, is the title track, Promised Land. This song, for me, parallels quite a bit Road to Madness from the debut, because there's times when Jeff sings, and I can envision, him holding his hands like this and having his head back as he screams. I imagine that when I hear him scream like that in Roads to Madness and here on this track. There's that as you'll hear me talk about today, Jeff really, part of why he's so amazing when he was in the band is because he steps into the role of the characters he's playing, not just Nikki, but individual pieces and what have you, and very much akin to Geddy Lee in his doing the same thing and stepping into the role, especially in moving pictures, that kind of thing. But yeah, I can imagine Jeff's, arms together like this with his head back, just, total anguish and misery and frustration. Such a great actor in the songs that he's, bringing to life, if you will, as the whole band is musically. And of course, you have the Pink Floyd-like stuff here with the sound effects. You have the protagonist, in the bar, and he's saying, another round for all my friends, and then you got him walking outside, and perhaps cowboy boots on gravel, then the train light warning, and then the train itself, and then the saxophone, which comes in, is just dynamite. I love Jeff's saxophone playing. He's been doing more of that ever since he got kicked out of the band, and started doing his own thing, and plus the Queensryche stuff. So I love the saxophone. And then rich and compelling is near the end, where he belts Where Did It All Go Wrong. This is a slow-moving song, but it's very theatrical. It's very dramatic. Go figure, it's Jeff Tate's Queensryche, the Jeff Tate mark of Queensryche, if you will. I'm just so quite fond of the song. So yeah, 39 is Promised Land. Going to the debut now, 38. You have that echo of warning, warning, warning. So talking about warning. And then right after that, you get the amazing drums of Scott. My favorite part here in the album, the drums in this whole track is just amazing. And of course, you have, after the warning, 3 times you have the guitar come in and the other instrumentation. But there's something dynamic, or most dynamic, is the drums here by Scott. Great lyrics. You have Jeff say at one point, child of centuries, so some sense of long life or longevity of immortality. Great guitar solo, it's amazing. Great ending to the song. Eddie's bass after Jeff's screech at the end is just bone-chilling. Now we come to number 37, which is Chemical Youth, We Are Rebellion from Rage for Order. This is one of those cool phrasing songs where you just want to raise your fist and yell type, to quote Alice Cooper. Raise your fist and yell, pump up your fist while you're watching them live or listening to it at home, whatever the case may be. Got to get up and move, perhaps. It's essentially a cool sing-along song, especially the chorus. Scott's drums, you're going to hear me talk about him today a lot. Scott's drums are just amazing here. And the guitar for the last third of the song is just phenomenally amazing. All right, number 36, sticking with Rage for Order, is Surgical Strike. Did I show you this album cover? I meant to. I love that album cover. So, Surgical Strike, the title suggests, and as the song does in much of the album, the sterility of life, because of what this album talks about is, as we can relate to today, the loss of our humanity because of technology. The computer word made God in a different song. The human-machine hybrid, think Terminator, that kind of, in other things. The Dune series, science fiction. Soldiers programmed to go off to war. In this case, in this song, a song about warfare. And the soldiers, quote, "We've taught them not to feel," says the narrator. "They've become desensitized to violence because they have a job to do, and that is to destroy the enemy." The guitar solo here is amazing. Surgical Strike, very fond of the song. I won't give it a 11 out of 10, but I would say it's a 9, 9.5. That's how much I like the song. So yeah, again, Rage for Order deals with the loss of humanity in 2 ways. The industrial technological complex taking over our minds, thought control, that kind of thing, and then the vampire suite that's kind of spread out throughout the album, but I'll talk more about that later. 35, going back to Promised Land, is Lady Jane. You have the intro, the soft piano, the children's voices in the playground. The piano pretty much tells it's a Jeff Tate composition. Lady Jane is outcast from her fellow children, colleagues, if you will, classmates on the playground, if you will. I'm not sure if this song is about the British royal figure Lady Jane, but regardless, it's a great song. I love the chorus. The cello is a wonderful touch here, along with the piano. The lyrics, some of it is, "The world is looking very strange." And then the guitar solo here is just so moving. And then, of course, the song ends with the piano, with the cello, which is just, again, so beautiful, so moving, so wonderful to hear. It's a nice treat, a nice touch for this slow song. Number 34, the title track, Operation Mindcrime. Of course, you get the beginning of the song with the phone ringing twice. Jeff playing the role of Nicky, picks it up, nothing there, puts it down, it rings again, and then you get the cool intro guitar. The song is setting up Nicky's protagonist drug problem. The chorus, for me, is the best part of the song, and Jackson's bass here foreshadows the needle lies to come on the album. Jackson's bass here is my favorite part of the song, along with Scott's percussion. The two here on the album in the whole band during my favorite part of their discography is just so amazing, just so amazing. All right, 33, going to the EP is Prophecy. This song was not originally included on the original EP, but then made its way as a reissue. I forget the year. It's been reissued a bunch of times, a third time because of the live tracks, which is a must own, if I may say. Maybe I'll talk about that later in a different video, perhaps. But yeah, Prophecy was recorded during the Rageful Order sessions, and yet it seems to fit anyway with the material on EP and with the Rageful Order. Go figure, that makes sense. I think it's a fabulous song. The opening riff is phenomenal. When it was first reissued, I was like, why didn't they just put this, on the EP to begin with? Because it's such a great song. But of course, I didn't know at the time that it was recorded later during their sophomore effort. But yeah, it's a great song. The opening riff, as I said, is phenomenal, as are Scott's drums. Go figure. It's a wonderful early track. The chorus is just an amazing earworm to boot. All right, that was 33, Prophecy. 32, great lyrics too. 32 is Another Rainy Night. Eddie's bass is amazing. The song lyrics are relatable and compelling about dealing with waiting for your loved one to come home. Is she going to come home? It's a bit confusing, and I think it's meant to be ambiguous. Of course, Jeff is playing the acting role once again, or is it from experience? Who knows? But the answering machine that you hear, again, sound effects, that Pink Floyd type thing that they do at this point in their career, going back to the previous album and really before that, just exacerbates the frustration for our protagonist because there are new messages, and we hear that later for the next song. The chorus is amazing. The solo is one of the best on the album, and this is one of the things I like about the Jeff Tate era of Queensryche. You have songs that are, in many ways, have lots of elements of the ballad to them, and yet, when the guitar solo comes along, it's just damn heavy, and yet it fits with the ballad stuff. It's just amazing, and it blows. Hair metal's known for that, but this power metal type ballad stuff just, for me, blows the hair metal stuff out of the water. And then, of course, the end of the song is compelling because the last words Jeff emphasizes so well, without you, and then you hear next message saved Saturday, right? And then you go into Empire. This is just great. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. So 32, Another Rainy Night, sticking with the Empire album. Love this song so much. 31, The Thin Line. For me, the song is all about Eddie's bass. Mostly it's thick, it's rich, it's so deep, with the twin guitars to boot. But I love to air bass to this. I've played it on my bass too while listening to the song, which is great. But once Jeff starts singing, the bass and the acoustic guitar are so warm and nice. And then you have some great advice thematically from the lyrics. Jeff sings, I walk the thin line for you, etc. And it's implied that this is perhaps something, it's implied that this is something you shouldn't do in a relationship. Don't walk on eggshells in any relationship. Good advice indeed. Other great moments. Wonderful part of the song when Jeff sings, raise my eyes, she stares. Just a beautiful voice all around, as Jeff just has a lovely voice. It's great. And then another part I just love is when Jeff sings, addictive face, pretending, and in the bass, dun 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 dun, don't speak the words, right? That bass again is just so compelling and rich. And the solo is my favorite on this album, on the Empire album. It's my favorite solo here. What a great song. So I'm so much love for this song. It's the chemistry between Eddie and Scott. The drums here are just amazing as well. This is one of the best rhythm sections in rock and metal, in my humble opinion. So yeah, 31, The Thin Line, just an amazing song. Going back to the debut, we have No Sanctuary at number 30. It's a slow yet moving song. Jeff's voice is amazing, go figure. Great chorus to boot. He's playing the role as always. Like I said, comparing him to Geddy Lee when he plays the character in the song, right? And some wonderful lyrics here. Oh, can't you see the lies in front of you? Right, it's just great. 4-minute mark, the song slows down and you got the whistling. And there's a little bit of that in other songs. unlike the Scorpion song Winds of Change, which is an okay song, but the whistling annoys me for some reason. But here, when Jeff does it, it's just, I just love it. And then the song picks up again after the slow part with the whistling. And again, another great chorus, as I said. So that's No Sanctuary, number 30. The way that Jeff sings Sanctuary, he has to say it that way because it would blow, he has to lose a syllable because it would break up the flow of the beat, but it still works. I love it. 29 is The Whisper. So going to Rage for Order. And of course you have, we knew something was up when this first came out with the photos on the back with the vampire shtick, right? Really cool. So The Whisper, for me, is a wonderful song, again coming in at number 29. You have the vampire theme here. The first 3 songs are Walk in the Shadows, I Dream in Infrared, and The Whisper. You could argue that Gonna Get Close to You fits in with the vampire shtick. It is a cover song, though. It's more about a stalker than anything else, but you can make it fit because vampires stalk their prey. So regardless, the first 3, at least the first 3, perhaps the first 4 songs are part of what I call the vampire suite, but there's other things on here that, and again, you may not interpret it, of course, it's your opinion, but I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that there's a lot of stuff here that implies that we're dealing with vampirism and the main male vampire, that the role that Jeff steps into, he's speaking to his beloved who is someone he's just turned, that kind of thing. But anyway, so a wonderful song, vampire themed. There you have slave and master lyrics. He's helping his love adjust to being a vampire. Quote, forget what you learned in the past. And also, free under the night sun, the moon, of course. And there's always that fear of the hunger, he says. There's a weird ending with it's from some movie or TV show with, will you raise your right hand, please? Don't know what that's about, but really cool. 29, The Whisper. Going back to the debut, number 28 is On Force. You have some wonderful chimes to introduce the song, and then the guitar comes in with those chimes and the killer kick-ass riff. The music meshes so well with the lyrics and the message here. The great twin guitars from the boys. You have lyrics like Twisted Contusions, which are created by the tyranny of an iron fist. At the 4-minute mark, you have a shift to acoustic guitar, and then you have that wonderful voice again, that wonderful, wonderful voice of Jeff singing Once Long Ago, etc. Great, great song. 27, same album, the debut, Take Hold of the Flame. Great ballad quotation marks. Great lyrics, great message, great advice, beautifully sung song. When I first saw the video for this on MTV, I was like, what happened to my Queensryche, because of the EP? But then I remember, wait, Lady Wore Black, so I was like, yeah, okay. But I guess it was like, where's the, why is your hit a ballad? Do a hit that's a hard rock and heavy tune. Anyway, but I get it. I warmed up to it very quickly. Although I remember a friend of mine saying someone played this at their wedding, and I thought that doesn't go well at a wedding. But anyway, all around the musicianship is fantastic. Percussion is amazing. The guitar is amazing, and Jeff's high register equally amazing. And of course, the end is great with a simple "Take Hold." Right, great song. 27, Take Hold of the Flame. Sticking with the debut, coming in at number 26 is NM156, foreshadowing, yes indeed, the Rage for Order album, because of the person here in the story is a man-machine. So it's a warning, go figure, there's that word again, a warning about the dangers of technology. Blur, this song is a blur between science fiction and science fact, because of, it's very Holocaust-like, because the individual, our protagonist, is talking about the loss of his identity. He's now a number, NM156, so the loss of humanity, dealing with that in the discography, the early part of the Queensryche discography. It begins with computer keys clacking, and then the industrial Terminator-like vibe, then guitar. The lyrics, free thinking not allowed. Again, Jeff is acting the part, the human / machine with false memories. There's this back and forth between him singing as the protagonist and then the overlords who control him. that's, again, foreshadowing much to come in Rageful Order, a particular song that is in this list today. We'll get to that. Again, his ideas, his loss of his dignity and individuality, paralleling the Holocaust. Great guitar solo, long too, it's wonderful. And Tate's scream near the end, stretched, is just amazing. The ending with the shutting down of the voice going 1 5 6 1 5, right, and then slowly dying or being shut down for good. Who knows? Or maybe it's temporary, like C-3PO. Who knows? But anyway, what a great song. 26, NM156. 25, Road to Madness. So cracking my top 25, Road to Madness again on the debut, foreshadowing Operation Mindcrime because, well, let me say this, it is an epic. It's almost 10 minutes long at 9:41, and it foreshadows Operation Mindcrime because the opening lyric is, "This is memory now," or something like that. This is mostly memory now. So, and like Operation Mindcrime, this particular song, like the whole album that comes with Operation Mindcrime, is the whole song here is a whole flashback. Like Operation Mindcrime is a whole flashback. Like I said in the next album, you have a wonderful, nice, long intro. Jeff sings "Knowledge is torment." Knowledge is such torment, or something like that. So a theme there. Also singing "Waiting a Grand Transition." Great background vocals. You got these oohs that come in, and then in the background vocals you have these oohs, and then you have, I think it's Chris DeGarmo, belting out lower in the register underneath Jeff the word madness. More acting, very theatrical. Guitar is amazing. And there's a shift approaching 6 minutes where the theatrical stuff gets even more impressive. You hear Jeff go shh at one point, and then at the 6 minute mark, you have another shift. The guitar comes in, it's heavier, it kicks ass, and you got the wonderful riff. And then you have the arms together with the head back type of scream, as I mentioned before. Then you get some percussion and another second scream. And then you get some more music in the third scream, right? That high register from Jeff. And then the cowbell just totally rocks. Fast-paced cowbell from Scott. And then at the end, you have Jeff stretches his mid-range and holds it. It's amazing. And then it fades with light cymbals. I saw Queensryche live 5 or 6 times, or 6 or 7 times, and they played this on the Empire Tour, Building Empire Tour, where they did Operation Mindcrime in its entirety. They played this in its entirety, and it was amazing. Amazing. Number 24, from Operation Mindcrime, The Needle Lies. This is about Nikki's addiction to the dragon. It begins with, "I've had enough and I want out." And of course, Dr. X saying, "You can't walk away now." And then, right? This is an amazing album. Kick-ass drums, kick-ass bass, kick-ass guitar, quasi-power thrash metal. The pacing of the song is heavy. It reflects Nicky's despair, trying to get away, his emotion, his anxiety. He's trying to run away from Dr. X and himself, but you can't run away from yourself, as you know. And of course, for me, the best part of the song is Scott's drums. It's all great, though. Guitar, you name it, the riff is amazing. There's points in the song where, again, Jeff acting, of course, and gasping for breath, etc. Great song. 24, The Needle Lies. Great bass as well. 23 is Night Rider from the debut EP. Great heavy song from the early days. Have to play this one loud, folks. It's powerful. All instruments are so amazingly powerful. Another raise your fist and yell, pump it up type song. DeGarmo shreds his ass off the last third of the song. The song ending with "Beware of the night," repeated, right? And then the last time, really, "Beware of the," right? Leaving you breathless. Great song. You're exhausted by the end of it. It's fabulous. So Night Rider 23. Number 22, going back to Empire. Anybody listening? Closing track. One of the great things about the first 6 albums or so, you have these wonderful, amazing closing tracks that just seal the deal. Wonderful closing track, as I said. The motif and the theme here is amazing. The song, that is. Jeff singing about taking a risk, having to leave home to be a rock star and take that risk to become a musician. So I'm assuming this is from personal experience. It seems that way. Chorus is stellar. Percussion too. The lyrics, is there anybody who smiles without a mask? Is there anyone who smiles without a mask? Very compelling, very Shakespearean. Also very Neil Young-like, because he's questioning, are my friends really my friends, or are they fake? Because of my being famous kind of thing. Him being famous. So anybody listening, great song, 22. 21, One More Time, from Promised Land. I love this song. I can't get enough of it. This song gets me every time. The lyrics, behind my eyes, I keep my truth from you. Again, about wearing masks, like the previous song. Song about facing change, more on that later. Example, dig down deep to find the man I thought I was, etc. And then later on you get, when I needed to run, I needed to try so hard. And then the chorus, one more time around, it's all I ask for now. So great song about wanting one more second chance, or a second chance. The song seems to be a part one of the next song. And I misspoke, because this is not a closing. No, I didn't say this was a closing track. The previous song I did. But this seems to be a part one of the next song, which is the closing track. But I'll get to that soon enough. This is a great solo here, even though it's, as I said before, one of the wonderful things about Queensryche for me and for many of us is, while the song may be a singer-songwriter type song, as this is in many ways, and the part two that follows, kind of a part two, it's still heavy when the guitar solo, and yet it still fits. So you have a light and shade song essentially, and that's what, for me, which makes this band so legendary. The ability to fit in a heavy kick-ass guitar solo on essentially a singer-songwriter type ballad song. So yeah, One More Time, amazing track coming in, number 21. Number 20, from Operation Mindcrime, Sweet Sister Mary, an epic 10 minutes and 40 seconds long. The song dealing with the Madonna horror complex, and of course the title of the song is a pun, because sweet is spelled S-U-I-T-E. The hotel room in which he speaks to her, she feeds him the dragon, and some other things. So it begins with the power window coming down in the limo, and Dr. X says, "Kill her. That's all you have to do." And Nikki says, "Kill Mary?" To which Dr. X says, "And get the priest as well," right? And then the song begins with some wonderful acoustic guitar, and then this Carmina Burana-like Gregorian monk chanting, omen-like, wonderful, wonderful way to begin a song. And then the opening lyrics, you get 10 p.m., I feel the rain coming down, my face feels wet, my mind the storm, great lyrics. And then you hear the ambulance in the background. And then one of my favorite parts, even better than that part, is midnight, and then Scott hits his drums. She sings praises in the hall to saintly faces, hallowed be their names, I can't recall. Just look at that. Look at those goosebumps, right? Just an amazing song. Pamela Moore as Sweet Sister Mary, or Sister Mary, her voice is just phenomenal. When I saw Queensryche live at the House of Blues in New Orleans, I saw them there 2 or 3 times, definitely twice. Once it was them doing all their heavy stuff, and no ballads, I don't think. And they had the guy with the high mohawk, I think the guitar player that's on Q2K, I can't remember his name, Kelly maybe, or maybe it's the guy after that. So no Chris DeGarmo. And then I saw him again when they did Operation Mindcrime 1 and 2 back-to-back at the House of Blues. And Pamela was back for that gig, and she was amazing again. Wow. So a great song dialogue between Jeff and Pamela, the back and forth between the two. Jeff again as Nikki. Great voice they both have, as I mentioned. The chorus, I see myself in you, delivered so amazingly, song about love, and other things as well. The second half of the song, you get back to the acoustic guitar and the religious chanting, but with an additional kick-ass percussion to follow. And then the end, you have what sounds like laughter, but I think it's the guitar mimicking laughter. I'm not sure if it's actually recorded laughter. It's like the way the strings are played to mimic laughter. Great song. 19, the title of the band song, if you will, Queen of the Reich from the EP. Very derivative for many people. It's been hailed as a derivative song, imitation of Iron Maiden. Still love it. Opening Halford Dickinson-like shriek. Jeff seems to hold the note forever. It's great. Heavy as you know what. Another raise your fist, pump up your fist and yell song. I just love it. Great solo. All right, number 18, sticking with the EP, is The Lady Wore Black. Great slow ballad, their first. Definitely paralleling Samuel Taylor Coleridge's epic poem Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Since the protagonist, now after hearing this mysterious lady's story tale, must share and bear her burden, making him a sadder and wiser man. The music is delightful, the music is compelling, the music is beautiful. Jeff's voice never sounded better. Ballad-wise, great song, so moving. 18, The Lady Wore Black. Number 17 is The Mission, back to Operation Mindcrime. Begins with a televangelist on television, and then Nicky's heartbeat, and he's loading a gun, and then you hear him, bless me, Father, for I have sinned, and then he shoots the TV. At first I thought that he shot the priest in the confessional booth, but no, he shoots the TV, and then in the video you see blood come down the TV. The acoustic guitar is just so amazing here. Great lyrics as well. I talk to shadows of a lonely candle, just so poetic. And then the chorus, the candles are later described as, or a different stanza perhaps, they're described as each one tells a story but they end the same, and the misery in Nicky's voice is just palpable. They end the same, death. In other words, the candle symbolizing so many things in this song and album. His dream, his delusion is riveting. My mission would save the world. We'll all stand proud. Despite that it's delusional, it's still compelling because of the emotion and passion in which Jeff/Nicky sings. And the solo is the one of the most moving of all time. Slow, but amazing. And what a great ending. 17, The Mission. 16, going back to the Rage for Order album. London, perhaps another vampire song. A Dracula setting, part of Dracula set in London. You have that, but you also have that industrial Terminator-like intro. It's brief. It's a great slow ballad. Love song, one of my favorites, about lost love, hence perhaps the vampire thing. The chorus is compelling. The singing is exquisitely beautiful and engrossing and convincing. Jeff is just that and more in his career at this point. London, great song. 15, this is a song I was relating to earlier that follows. Yeah, this is the song that follows One More Time, and it kind of comes off as a part 2 to One More Time, but it's a better song. It's the closing track on Promised Land, and that is Someone Else, ? Now I'm talking about the version where it's Jeff, just Jeff in the piano, at the piano, not the full band version, which is on the reissue, which I have here. And that's a good version too, but I like the original version. It's a singer-songwriter type of music because it's just Jeff and the piano. As I said, perhaps a part 2 to One More Time. And again, it's a song about facing changes, as we have on this album and Empire. The lyrics to start, when I fell from grace, and then he goes from there. It's just so moving, gets me every time. And then the part that gets me all emotional is when he sings, a man whose life must toil is like a kettle left to boil. And he's almost going to cry, as I'm about to, right? And he says, and the water left these scars on me, right? Just a great actor all around, unless he's talking from experience and he's not acting. But yeah, I get caught up. I get a choke in my throat. So you can see my eyes are, it's just that moving, right? To quote Elton John, sad songs mean so much. But then later on, you get, I know now who I am, if only for a while. The philosophy of multiple selves, from philosophy, the onion philosophy, that you think you've found your true self, but then there's another layer like an onion, and then, whoa, there's another layer, and then, you keep going. I have more to say about this song. The chorus, here I stand at the crossroads edge. When I look back, I see someone else, comes up later. And And he said, and then he keeps repeating towards the end, I keep looking back, and then high register at someone else, right? And then he says later on, there's so much more, or right after that, there's so much more, I think I finally understand. Wait, I'm sorry, there's so much more I can be. Theme of the song, I think I finally understand. And then the chorus comes again after that. And what's compelling about the song also is that the song is very similar to Rush's song Available Light, which is the closing track also, but it's the closing track on Presto, where Geddy's talking about a photograph in his hand, and he sees a younger previous self, and he says it doesn't mean that much to me. So dealing with looking back and dealing with that, dealing with change, and it, of course, what's also compelling is the way the song ends with him saying, I keep looking back at someone else, and then you hear me. And then the song's over. And it's just wow. Great song. So coming in at 15, Someone Else. Number 14, the closing track. Again, amazing closing track on Rage for Order. I Will Remember. Great acoustic intro. It's mesmerizing, along with the deep oh in different parts of the song, beginning and end for the most part. Beginning and end only. It's a wonderfully moving song. And then you have the whistling again, and it works, unlike the Scorpions. I love it here. The song about remembering. It's about knowledge. And this is the connection to the dehumanization of mankind because of computers and technology, quote, and we wonder how machines can steal each other's dreams. So technology leads to autocracy and tyranny. And of course, as I said before, the whole album is thematically based, even though not a pure concept album, because you really have two stories going on in the album: the vampire stuff, the stalking stuff, perhaps connected or not, and then you have the dehumanization of man through technology with computers, like on the debut, full album Warning. But overall, the theme is palpable because whether it's vampires or computers or technology, it is robbing us of our humanity. So a connection to real life outside of the vampires, but that's a symbolism for our loss of humanity. So 14, I Will Remember, The Star That Came Tonight. The way that Jeff delivers that at the end especially is amazing. The acoustic guitar is fabulous as well. Of course, the oh to end the song is amazing. 13, back to the debut full-blown album, Warning, Deliverance. Picks up where Unforce leaves off. Heavy intro, totally kicks ass. The guitar with a Halford-like scream low in the mix at the beginning. Great riffs in the song. Great lyrics. Kings Without Mercy. My favorite part, lyric-wise, is one day a king will rise with the sun, the moon, and the star, right? And you will be he, and you must die to be born again, right? It's just great, that fist-pumping moment in the song. Born again, come again, once more again to be king. Just great, so heavy at this point. All the while he's singing that, Jeff is. The music is just phenomenal. This percussion from Scott especially. Great chorus. Back from the Dawn, Deliver Us Right from Wrong. Kings Forge the Way for your last day. High register in the song is great. What a wonderful song. 13, Deliverance. Never gets old. None of these songs get old for me, folks. 13, Deliverance. Number 12, Vampire Song, I Dream in Infrared. Deep bass and wonderful acoustic guitar here. Another Vampire Song, sequel to the next song I'm going to mention that I'm going to present. As I said, perhaps making a trilogy along with The Whisper. Lyrics, don't look in my eyes, you've never seen them so black. That's very vampire-like. I can't dream anymore. Perhaps a double meaning. Maybe vampires can't dream. And then later on, I don't know who I am. Perhaps because of the vampirism. Perhaps not. I don't know who I am. Gathered all these secrets, and I don't know who I am. I even feel alone when you're near because you'll never understand. It's people like that, they're emotional vampires. It may not be literal, but you're in a relationship with someone and you feel more alone with them than you did when you were single. So that's perhaps what this song is about. Again, great voice here, high register, love it from Jeff. Great guitar here, great ending with the soft acoustic guitar and the chimes. Da-dum-dum. dun, 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 dun. Right. All right. That was 12, I Dream in Infrared. Number 11, Walk in the Shadows, which is the opening track. Yes. Walk in the Shadows, I Dream in Infrared, and then The Whisper. So, Walk in the Shadows, opening track. Good. Jeff's opening notes and words. You're through with me, I'm not through with you. Very vampire-like. Doesn't have to be. We've had what others might call love. That's very vampire, because if you may interpret it that way. You may not. That's fine too. But I do. So he's speaking to a girl he's just turned, or someone who's about to be his conquest. He's comforting her in his conquest of her, because he says, when the morning comes, remember, I'll be with you. As they lay in their pine box, avoiding the sun, we're still together. I'm holding you. It's kind of beautiful in its own right. Great guitar, great everything. What a wonderful song. I love this song. Now, cracking my top 10. The debut full-blown album, Child of Fire. Great intro. Song has a killer riff. Cool drums from Scott. My favorite part of the song with Jeff's voice is the drums from Scott and Jeff's voice. Fabulous lyrics in chorus. Title sung here in the chorus. Later on, you get the softer section with the oh. The music's very moving and cinematic. A lot of this music is cinematic because of the acting and what have you. Jeff's soft diatribe at this point. Look around, and in the echo, is this the end you seek? The pain, the misery in us all? He sings that so beautifully. And he goes on from there, and then later on, oh, damn you, for the pain they must feel, the children feeling pain. And in the solo from there, just beautifully, it's beautiful and heavy at the same time. Who does that? Who on earth has a guitar solo that's heavy and beautifully done at the same time? It's so great, the Wild of Queensryche in this era. Song ends with no, stretched with drums and guitar. And I think there's a drum flourish, if I remember. What a great song. Number 10, Child of Fire. Great chorus. Child of Fire. All right, number 9, Before the Storm. Debut full-blown album. Great intro, great riff with drums, great cowbell on the song. Who thought that? It's another thing I like about Queensryche. I mentioned in another song. They have 2 or 3 songs in their catalog where the cowbell is just amazingly heavy. A lot of it, real fast pace from Scott, just amazing. The guitar is heavy, yet has a soothing quality. Love the chorus. We watch the sunrise and hope it won't be our last. And then we watch the sunrise. Great sing-along song. Very theatrical. At the 4:22 mark, a shift to set up the transition to Child of Fire, which is all instrumental here. It's compelling guitar, compelling bass, compelling drums, and Jeff's high register in Before the Storm is just beyond fabulous. All right, 9, Before the Storm. Number 8, can't get enough of the song either. Screaming in Digital from Rage for Order. This is a very haunting tune. Got lots of sound effects here, with a riff of a haunting or repetitive note. You have film and movie sounds here. Sorry, I shook the camera. At first, I thought the lyrics growing up listening to this, the first year or so, I thought was, don't say goodbye, just say I love you, perhaps from a movie. But I guess it's from a movie or a film or a TV show. But actually, I looked it up. The lyrics are, if you don't want to say goodbye, just say a prayer. Anyway, Jeff's phrasing is incredible. He's playing 2 roles. I'll get to that in a minute. But like a previous song or 2 on the album, you have that industrial Terminator sound. It's not exactly the same as the Terminator soundtrack where, at the end of the movie you have dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, pounding, rhythmic, industrial. It's similar, not the same, but it sounds very much like that. Could go well with that Skynet theme, if you will, or motif. But anyway, the song is mostly the point of view of the computer god or tyrant here, the quote computer word made flesh, and or the more human side of the man-machine or victim of the technology or the computer god or the overlord. Maybe it's one person who has conflicting emotions. He is the computer. It's very ambiguous. perhaps a man machine who is sterile and controlling and unhuman, but has that human side like NM156, who knows. But you have a dialogue between the two, and it also suggests that it's father and son, because if you look up the lyrics, and if you don't need the lyrics to see it, but if you listen carefully, Jeff is switching his tone of voice to imitate that there are two roles here. There's the father and the son. Example, hush now, the father, then the boy, I'm not your slave. Then the father again, I'll give you all you need to know. Then the son again, oh Father, no, please don't keep me from dreaming. Foreshadowing the last song on the album, which is I Will Remember, because of, and we wonder how machines can steal each other's dreams. This is a creepy song. And then Jeff at one point sings, dreams are only programmed cards. I thought it was thoughts, same difference. Computer, right? It's not your real dreams. The solo is so inspired, very much like The Needle Lies, because the character seems to be, or wants to be, on the run, right? For the protagonist wants to be on the run. Parallels The Needle Lies, as I said. Of course, the music is different. And some compelling lyrics are dealing with the theme of the song. Freedom belongs only to those without video screens. And he sings it very slow. The syllables are really paced nice and slow. It's beautifully done. And I'm wondering if this is reminiscent of a short story by Harlan Ellison, I believe, and which I've not read, but something along the title is, I have no mouth, yet I must scream. So the father speaks to the son, you have no mouth to speak with, my son. Besides, no one can hear you screaming in digital. So, and that's how it ends, and I'm like out of breath at this point. When I listen to the song, I mean, not now as I'm talking, but yeah, this is just a great song. Freedom belongs to only those without video screen. And the next part, even more theatrical, is you have no mouth to speak with, my son, and then high register, no one can hear you when you scream in digital, and then it ends abruptly with a flourish, and it's just, what a great song. So, number 8, Screaming in Digital. And number 7, New Regel, which means from German, I believe, New Rule, or Dutch. Great, same album, Rage for Order. Great vocal effects, manipulating Jeff's voice to sound industrial. And you have that mechanical stop, 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 stop. I think that's Jeff. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Oops. Jeff is in another room. This is what I learned a few years ago. Jeff is in another room from the band. Okay, apart from the band. Why? So the story goes, to reflect the lyrics, hail the new arrival, as if he's the new arrival about to enter the room. Okay, so Jeff is in character as usual to imitate the persona, waiting in the wings to fill in the new rule, the new Regel. This is the closest song on the album to the title track, Rage for Order, because of the lyrics. The percussion is fabulous. Scott teases us, and it gets me every time almost. He seems to be going on a long drum solo, but he just goes, and he's done. And I'm like, you get me every time. It's kind of like the tease Alex Lifeson gives us in that first solo on Permanent Waves on Natural Science. I want more. But anyway, it's still amazing. That short, quick paced thrashing of the drums, if you will. It's one of my favorite parts of the song. The drums are just tense when Scott does that, and the whole song really, but that's the most tense moment. Again, it teases you. And the chorus is great as well. My favorite part of the song, perhaps tied with that quick drum thrashing from Scott, is when Jeff sings, "No, it's not a dream anymore." And when he sings anymore, it's stretched, and it's that high register. Oh man, it's so amazing. I love it. Great song, New Regel, coming in at number 7. Number 6. This song is from Operation Mindcrime. It comes after Breaking the Silence, but I'm counting the song that comes after the song because You can't really disconnect them. They go together because they run into each other. So number 6 is I Don't Believe in Love / Waiting for 22, which is like a coda to I Don't Believe in Love. The intro to the guitar and percussion, the intro of the song with the guitar and percussion is amazing. You have that thick bass again from Eddie. When Jeff sings at one point, Feel, and then you get, right? Eddie's just amazing there. A Criminal Mind, Caught at the Scene of the Crime, Handcuffed, I Didn't Do It, 3 times, great lyrics, it's compelling, the chorus is great, Nikki is haunted in this piece. You have the light and shadows as the motif in the lyrics. Once again, the solo is amazing, it's so cool. Part of the lyrics is perhaps some nihilism on Nikki's part, where he sings there's no raison d'etre, but he sings there's no raison d'etre, so it rhymes, and there's no reason to live, there's no reason or motivation for being, in other words, it's a French term. And then the I Don't Believe in Love, of course the chorus is amazing where he belts it out, the high register, I Don't Believe in Love. But the ending of the song where he stretches out the word feel for emphasis and really stretched out with that acoustic guitar, that is just amazing. It's exquisite. And of course it runs into Waiting for 22, which is just a continuation of that guitar. You have now the acoustic guitar eventually fades out and you get the creepy, haunting electric guitar from DeGarmo, I believe. And it's exquisite as well. It's amazing. And then a clock strikes and then it's over and you go into the next song. But yeah, I Don't Believe in Love, Waiting for 22 is number 6. Amazing. Number 5 is 3 songs from Operation Mindcrime as one because they blend into each other. So here they are. I Remember Now / Anarchy X / Revolution Calling. Of course, the big part of this is Revolution Calling. So Revolution Calling plus the 2 brief bits that come before. And of course, the opening track is the same as the last track, I Remember Now, which demonstrates Jeff as Nicky and so convincing because the catch in his throat when he sings, or rather says, I remember now. And especially when he says, I remember how it started, right? That's just great. See goosebumps. And then, of course, you have Told Me. And then Anarchy X begins, and you have percussion and the Operation Mindcrime motif or theme of the album, which just kicks ass. And then the percussion here is just dynamite, and the guitar riff that follows the acoustic, the electric guitar that follows the acoustic is just amazing. That's the motif as well, or the theme of the whole album that repeats throughout the album in different parts of the album, different parts of the songs. And of course you have lyrics about, I thought the media would tell me the truth. It doesn't. You have the payouts, the corruption. You can't trust anyone in politics because they're all crooks. That stereotype. Then the shady televangelists, the Jessica Hahn scandal, though her name is not mentioned she's not mentioned by name, but that's what he's referring to. The Warhol 15 Minutes of Fame in the lyrics. And of course, greed, political, what is this word here? Political corruption or greed. Oh, corporate greed and corruption. Wall Street is implied, of course, televangelism, greed. And then the guitar at the end is a return to the motif or theme of the whole album. Just an amazing song combination. Again, I Remember Now, Anarchy X, wonderful introduction to Revolution Calling. And of course the chorus, Revolution Calling, etc. Great song. Number 4, Speak, Operation Mindcrime. Kick-ass riff, percussion is just badass, go figure, it's Scott on drums. Nicky here is given his mission, the lyrics are fabulous, I'm the new Messiah, Death Angel with a gun, Deadly is my, etc. The chorus here is great, including the hushed revolution, right? The word is all, right? Very New Regal-like in theme and topic. Utopia in mind, sings Jeff. Sacrifice, sings Jeff, or Nicky rather. The corporation clause mentioned. The rich control the government, the media the law. Eradicating the fascist revolution will grow, part of the lyrics. And then the solo is all over the place. The solo is amazing. It's dynamite. It's exquisite. And then more wonderful lyrics about the system is rigged, the system is flawed. You know, we're supposed to be equal under law, says Jeff or Nikki. And then he goes on from that. I'm not going to read all that. But you have that wonderful soliloquy from Nikki here. It's a compelling ending with amazing percussion. And you hear, speak, and then the song's over. Great, great song. And we go into the next one with... Right? Anyway, 3. A switching of gears here. Back to the EP. It's very high in the ranking. Number 3 for me is Blinded from the EP. Great opening, thundering bass guitar and drums. Then the amazing kick-ass riff along with the drums. The solo comes in. It's brief, but it's glorious. And then the scream and the lyrics. Headbanging all the way, folks. This is a great headbanging song. Raise your fist and yell. At the 1 minute 50-second mark is my favorite part. When Jeff belts out. Again, high register song here. When he belts out, you've been blinded from today. But this is the second time he says this. And today is today. And it stretches. Great high register. It's stretched. Again, in a wonderful, beautiful high register. Right up there with Halford and Dickinson at this point in his career. And then you get that kick-ass guitar that follows the stretching of the word today. It's just dynamite to hear every time. That kick-ass guitar turns into a solo, which is quite long, and the percussion all along while this is going on is very thunderous and amazing. And then at the end, a great way to end the song, I think it's DeGarmo singing, calling and calling and calling, and Jeff, blinded, calling and calling, blinded, calling and calling, blinded, and then songs end, and then you get the wind to introduce The Lady Wore Black. What a great song. 3 is Blinded. Number 2, Spreading the Disease, back to Operation Mindcrime, rich guitar opening, great guitar throughout the song, the percussion is amazing, it's dynamic, great lyrics, introducing to Mary's story about how she was 16-year-old working horrible, sinful jobs, and then $25 and John's a happy man. Great pun with the word John. And Jeff singing the high register. And then we learn about Father William coming in to rescue Mary, and he doesn't because of what he does to her and his horrible crimes with her, what he does to her once a week. And then you have an amazing solo, the percussion. Here's a precursor to Empire, the song Empire, on Empire. And then you get to introduce Jeff's diatribe, hushed diatribe, or soliloquy with religion and sex or power plays, manipulating people for the money they pay, selling skin, selling God. Their numbers are the same with a credit card. And then the guitar flourish after that. That acoustic or electric small bit is wonderful. And then he talks about the wars in South America, pointing out hypocrisy in government. Empty words, crooked cops, 1% rules America, and then that scream, spreading the right. It's great. The end of the song is the guitar from the intro, so we come full circle with Scott's dynamic and amazing percussion. And then you have that warning sound alarm, perhaps a sound effect or played by the drums or rather the guitar. Or both, and it's just amazing. So, yeah, Spreading the Disease, great song. Okay, number 1, folks. Shouldn't be a shock to anyone, I don't think, who's a Queensryche fan. But this is 2 songs because they run into each other and they go together. The first part is the introduction to the song. I'm talking about My Empty Room / Eyes of a Stranger. You get the clock ticking, continuing from the previous song. Waiting for 22, then My Empty Room Today, I Can't Believe, chalk line on the board. He's talking about Mary's death and, the crime scene a little bit, I believe. There's no sleep today, my dreams are still crimes. I always get My Empty Room and not My Empty Room and, let me see, folks, I may have misspoke, sorry about that. Let's see. I think there are lyrics in here. Sometimes I just don't write enough down. Let's see. Almost there, folks. Yeah, empty room today, and here I sit, I was right, chalk outline upon the wall. I remember tracing it 1,000 times the night she died. Why? And then that's beautifully acted. He repeats, why? Why? There's no sleep today, I can't pretend. When all my dreams are crimes, I can't stand facing them. And then the high register comes with, now who will come to wash away my sins, clean my room, fix my meals, be my friend? And then when he sings friend, it's stretched like forever. And then Eyes of a Stranger starts, and then you get Dr. Davis, please, Dr. Davis, Dr. Davis, right? The music that begins Eyes of a Stranger is just totally haunting and chilling. And then you get Dr. Blair, Dr. Blair, Dr. J. Hamilton, I remember coming home from school, and my mom's watching a pre-recorded soap opera, and I hear those doctors' names. So interesting. Nonetheless, you hear Dr. X laughing at some point, still in the intro here, and then you hear Nicky scream low in the mix, no, I don't want to take a bath because of his addiction. He's off of it, the drug, and so his endorphins aren't working, and so any little slight touch will feel like a tremendous amount of pain. And then you get the motif of the twin guitars coming in, which is amazingly harmonious and beautiful, and then the lyrics, all along now, except for the memories of what we had and what we knew, etc. And then this beautiful song when he sings, I see your face looking back at me, and then he raises it high in the register, looking back at me. And of course the chorus, and I raise my hand and stare at the eyes of a stranger, etc. And then you get wonderful other lyrics like the mirror never lies, very compelling. And then also compelling, what's left for me, he sings, straitjacket memories, sedative highs, no happy ending like they always promised me. Now, what's also cool about the song, there's so much to like here, love really. The percussion from Scott is just top notch, go figure, it's Scott. And of course, before the solo, you get Jeff singing once again, Behind My Stare, and then the solo begins, which includes the Operation Mindcrime theme or motif, twin guitar goodness at its best, folks. And then later on the lyrics, you get Jeff singing, or Nicky, how many more times must I live this tragedy? Why am I here and for how long? And then I raise my head and stare. There's that old video, it's not the official video, but there's that video which is amazing where Jeff still has his straight hair and he's got bangs, and you see him look up and look in the mirror. Oh, I wish I could find that somewhere. Anyway, it's amazing. And then towards the end, when he says stare and stretches it, you get the motif of the album and the music again with the guitar and everything. Perhaps the denouement / conclusion is obvious. It's very palpable. And then you get the guitar theme, as I said, okay? But under that is a layer of a different type of guitar. So the two guitars playing against each other and yet working. It works. It's just something beautiful about the two guitars playing at this point, because you have, like I said, the motif and the theme, the Operation Mindcrime theme, and then underneath that or above it is another different type of guitar playing that's layered with that. It works so well. And then to close things up, the song, you get flashbacks of other things that came before in the record, like the ambulance and Dr. X and other things. You need to hear them fully with headphones. And then, of course, the song pretty much ends with revolution in a computerized technical voice. And then, of course, you get some haunting music, and then, of course, the last track. So I meant to say this, I'm combining this as my favorite track, My Empty Room, Eyes of a Stranger, and I Remember Now, to come full circle as so many progressive rock or progressive metal or progressive music in rock music has a full circle element in their story, like Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick, Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, etc. So there is my top 40, ending with My Empty Room, Eyes of a Stranger, I Remember Now. I have to include all those as one track, really, because they run into each other. I can't avoid it, really. Now, let me wrap up by saying this, kind of a disclaimer, if you will. I forget which video it was I did not that long ago, perhaps a month or so ago, and I was ranking my favorite songs of a band, like I'm doing here today, and someone got ugly with me and said, well, how come you don't have any songs from, the other half of the discography? So let me address that now. As a Queensryche fan, I love the EP. I love the debut album. I love Rage for Order. I love Operation Mindcrime. It's a masterpiece. It's their magnum opus. It's my favorite. It's their best. I love most of Empire. I love most of Promised Land. And then there's a falling off. There's a couple songs on Q2K. There's a couple songs on Tribe. That's mostly a horrible album. There's a couple of songs on, 3 or 4 songs on Here and the Now Frontier. But overall, it's too light or pop for me, or just rock, not heavy enough for me. I think Operation Mindcrime 2 is horrible, except for the song with Dio in it and maybe another track or two. And then anything after that I don't like at all in the Jeff Tate era, including the one that's called FU. As far as Todd Latour, Mark version of Queensryche goes, there's some pretty good stuff, but it never, for me, holds a candle to anything I've presented in these 40 songs. So that's why nothing from the Todd Latour era is here, because there's some good stuff, maybe some very good stuff, but it pales in comparison to all the great music in these 40 tracks. Anyway, so that's, and then again, it boils down to preference. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.